Good morning, everyone. It's Ryan Keenan, and I'm making this video one because I wanted to clear up something I said last night in my video about the city of Monterey. Some of those houses that I said are for rent are actually apartments. However, a good majority of them are actually houses that have been sold and are now converted into rentals. I don't have the exact numbers. Leave a message in the comments if you want me to research this further, but I will keep an eye on this and make further videos about this in the future as they begin to materialize and we see more numbers, um, maybe next week and the week after. So it's a very interesting thing to keep an eye on. Um, but that's not the reason why I'm making this video. As you can see behind me, the lights are blue because I'm sad. And the reason why I'm sad is this morning I was reading headlines as I normally do, and I started reading a headline by a well known economist that said we are in a housing recession. Now, if you are familiar with the term, I'm sure you've heard of it recently as people have said the market is in a recession or the economy is in a recession. What that means is two straight quarters of negative GDP growth. And what GDP is gross domestic product. That is how many things are being manufactured and um, how many products are being consumed in the United States. Uh, and as that number goes down, then that leads to causes of recessionary pressures because we are not producing as much and consuming as much because everything is too expensive. And that has to do with inflation. And as you will see on Friday, the PCE numbers, uh, the consumer expenditures, the personal consumer expenditures numbers come out on Friday, and that is going to give us a more better barometer if inflation has actually peaked or if we are going to see some more pain left to go. Now, I think we're probably going to see a little bit left to go, and the Federal Reserve is meeting Thursday and Friday in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So that is something else to keep an eye on economically. That's not why I'm making this video. The reason why I'm making this video is because I was reading a headline that says we're in a housing recession. And I started thinking, what does that actually mean? Does that mean that there are 2 months of consecutive price drops in the United States that the prices have gone below uh, asking price for 2 straight months? Okay, that might be the case. But that does not mean a housing recession. And I'm so unclear on what a housing recession actually is. And if we are, in fact, in a housing recession, I can explain it. And the article doesn't even explain it at all. They don't even say why we're in a housing recession or how this came to be, and the reason why. And I can tell you. So, I have been looking at this and studying this since last week. So here are the top 10 cities with the highest price drops in the United States. But it's funny because a lot of these were also the biggest booms in the work from home culture back in 2020. Now, every 2 years, we see people want to move. We see people want to sell. So, a lot of the people that bought in 2020 are now trying to list their house for sale in 2022 and either move back to the areas where they're originally working before the work from home culture started, or are just over that lifestyle or it was too hard or living out in the country wasn't everything that they expected and want to change of pace. Or maybe they want to rent. Who knows? But here are the top 10 places with the highest price drops in the United States. Number one, Reno, Nevada. Number two, Austin, Texas. And let me go through the percentages. Reno, Nevada, 32 28.4% of properties had price cuts last month. Austin, Texas, 32.4% of properties had price cuts in Austin. Phoenix, Arizona, almost 30% of properties had price cuts. Anchorage, Alaska, 28%. Boise, Idaho, 28%. Ogden, Utah, 27%. Sacramento, California, 25%. Colorado Springs, 25%. Evansville, Indiana, almost 25%. And Medford, Oregon, 23%. Now, if you told that story, that would make more sense and it wouldn't sound as bad. It would say, okay, so now people priced houses in those areas according to how the market was last year, realizing now they can't get what they want for those houses, so they have to drop the price. Okay, that is not a housing recession. This article goes on to say that the sales of existing homes were down last month by 20%. Okay, keep in mind, this is all across the country. I just did a video last night about Monterey being in a seller's market. Now it's saying across the country, sales are down 20%. Okay, so people aren't buying as fast as they used to because the average days on market is going up. Things are sitting longer. People are taking their time. They can actually negotiate with contingencies. They don't have to waive all their rights as a buyer to be able to afford a house now. You can actually take your time and shop and do your due diligence and make a very good offer. And we aren't seeing as many multiple offers in other markets across the country. The article then goes on to say, however, the median price was $403,000, up 10% from July in 2021, and homes are still selling quickly. So they're saying the title housing recession, but they're saying the median home price is up 10% from last year, and homes are still selling quickly. It's kind of misleading. And then there are implications for buyers and sellers who may already be seeing a shift in their local market, meaning that we are going to be shifting to a buyer's market. Now, I think this is not very timely because I think we might already be in a buyer's market for a lot of parts of the country, yet we're not reporting on that and saying we're actually in a buyer's market. Super weird. So I'm working on the technology to be able to incorporate what I'm reading into the videos, but for now, I'm just going to read this and you can form your own opinions. So here we go. It's not a lot. Just months ago, the housing market remained in overdrive, surging home prices, historically low interest rates, and unrelenting demand. Very true. However, data now suggests to some experts the market is in a housing recession. Okay, let's see what they say. For example, sales of existing homes in July fell by 5.9%. Okay, so they're saying sales fell by 5.9%, but now they're saying at the top in the key points that sales of existing homes were down by 20% to 4.8 million properties from 6 million a year ago. And yeah, everything sold faster and it was a hotter market a year ago. So no surprise there. Marking the 6th month of a decline. So the 6th month of houses not selling as fast as they did a year ago, year over year. Duh. We had like the most insane market in history last year. So anything compared to last year is not going to live up to expectations. And they had a drop of more than 20% from the year earlier, like I just said. What's more, there have been layoffs and slower job growth in the industry. Okay, so they're comparing the negative sales to slower job growth, which I'm not sure what jobs they're referring to. Maybe more realtors entering the business, which is actually a good thing. And they're saying that it's also been related to more layoffs, which I'm not sure what the layoffs are. Home builder sentiment has turned negative. That is extremely true. And buyers are canceling contracts because interest rates have jumped from 5.72 from below 3.3 heading into 2022. Last year was a unicorn year for interest rates. And so it's no surprise that people are shocked that interest rates are not where they are last year. I mean, you just can't compare it. It's completely different scenario, different situation. I mean, so we're witnessing a housing recession in terms of declining home sales and home building. I'm not going to say the name, but very respected economist says, okay, home building, yes, I agree with. Home building is not great right now, and we definitely need to see that change in order to improve the housing picture nationally. Keep in mind, this is nationally, this is not locally. It's not a recession in home prices. This economist says inventory remains tight and prices continue to rise nationally, with 40% of homes still commanding the full list price. Okay, so I don't know where the bad news is in that. And I don't know why you would make a headline that says housing recession based on that. That's good. That means that home prices are still appreciating. If you bought a home, you are still seeing a ton of equity in that house. You are up 40% in 1 year from last year, which home prices were high last year. They've gone higher. Prices are still rising in nearly all markets across the country, and inventory is improving slightly, but not greatly so. Well, we are seeing a ton more inventory here locally in Monterey County. We have 501 active houses on the market. This is almost as much as we saw in parts of July, where we got up to about 510, 514,000 because homes are selling slower and we're seeing more inventory come on the market. It's also we are starting to see more quality homes come on the market, which is really good news. Homeowners are in a very comfortable position financially in terms of their housing wealth. This is true. He also recently said that homeowners are absolutely not in a recession. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Sales of existing homes were down in July by 20% to 4.8 million properties from 6 million a year ago. Like I said, you can't compare last year to this year. It's just two completely separate markets, circumstances, everything. However, the median home price last month was $403,800, up 10% from July of last year, which is incredible. With more interest rates roughly double where they were 6 months ago, buyers have had more trouble qualifying for loans or affording higher rates. This is totally true. I am seeing home buyers cancel a contract if their payment is just a little bit higher than what they expected. I'm talking about $100. Now, keep in mind, if your payment goes up by $100 a month, this can be restructured to be paid off over a longer period of time. And you have many options. There are many tools that lenders have now to help out with these competitive mortgage rates and interest rates. Home buyers are very cautious right now, which is true. That's what the article is saying. So the next section of the article says buyers may encounter more of a balanced market. And it says for buyers, the slowdown in demand is generally good news. This is true. Buyers should expect a little bit better price negotiation, possibly. Last year, they were at the mercy of whatever sellers were asking, and there were multiple offers. Buyers may not face that now, which is exactly what I was saying. While it depends on the specific market, there's more of a chance that the buyers will see more normal buying experiences. In some place, the slowdown means less competition and more likelihood that sellers will accept offers that come with contingencies, like I said earlier. and such as the buyers must sell their own home first, which is something I'm actually dealing with right now. I have a house that is scheduled to close a week from today, and also their house that we got in contract in with a contingent offer based upon their house selling is is expected to close the first week of September. So that is true. We are seeing more houses getting into contract that need to be sold, and also they need to buy a house. This is a pattern I expect to continue, and I expect to see this, especially as baby boomers downsize their financial wealth and financial living space, and downsize into more of a smaller space and upsizing their freedom to go and travel and explore the world, which is awesome. We are continuing to see contingencies being accepted, and that wasn't happening. And they're referring to last year. We'll probably see more of a balanced market. And then it goes on to say that sellers need to be more realistic. Sellers, meanwhile, may want to temper their expectations. Sellers need to be realistic about the changing market. They cannot expect to simply list their home at a high price and easily find a buyer. Too many buyers chasing after too few properties these days are over. At the same time, homes are still selling quickly. In July, properties typically remained on the market for 14 days, down from 17 days a year earlier. So, what does this tell us? This tells us that number one, properties were on the market for less time than they were a year earlier, which means nationally they're selling faster, which probably means that there is more demand that they are facing locally, in your local market. Tell me how it is. I'm sure you've probably seen multiple offers come back in some form, in some way. We're also seeing sellers being more realistic, but we are seeing more quality homes coming on the market, which then balances out the market and gives the opportunity back to the seller to be able to sell their house for a good price and also negotiate a good price with the buyer. Now, it all depends on your agent. If your agent is not informing you of this or telling you that they're going to sell your house for $300,000 over asking in this market, then you might want to find a new agent unless you absolutely agree with that sentiment and think that your house can actually do that. If you are questioning that, what you want to do is you want to pull up the comps from the neighborhood and look to see at what your house will sell for based on the previous sales in the neighborhood. Okay, now to sum up this article, this is very interesting because people aren't going to take the time to read this. I don't think people read a good majority of articles anymore. I think they just skim the headlines now. And so it's really sad and really unfortunate that we see negative titles like this and we're not able to dive deeper in and realize this is actually a good thing and this is actually a good article, but the title suggests otherwise. So just know, no, we are not in a housing recession. No, there pretty much is no such thing as a housing recession, and we're actually starting to see more of a balanced market. And like I've said yesterday, the city of Monterey is actually in a seller's market. And I think this trend might continue. So there are some things to keep your eye on for the rest of this week. Friday, we do have the national um, pending sales and home sales that are going to be released. The data is going to be released on Friday. That's going to be really interesting. There are some economic things happening this week as well, including the PCE, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Report, which is going to tell us if inflation has actually peaked. But for now, I think the housing market is going to continue to roar along, and we might see, if we see a drop in mortgage rates for a sustained period of time, we might see a little bit more of a hotter market come back for a brief period of time. So these are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you really like this information, please subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up so that I know you liked it and I can continue to make content like this. I'm going to go have breakfast and get ready for the day. But if you ever have any questions about real estate or want to know more, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have an awesome day. We'll talk to you later.